And here's a look at the outside of the building for the adventure that we're going on today. But I also wanted to show you this huge snow pile here from plowing the parking lot. And look, there's a tree growing out of it. A couple more snowstorms and that thing's gonna be completely gone. Well, hello there, and welcome to another beautiful day for an adventure here on Tommy Travels the Second. And that is right, today we are at the Commemorative Air Force Minnesota Wing. I have been here once before for my main Tommy Travels channel when I first started it. Not a lot of people saw it, so I thought I'd come back here for Tommy Travels the Second. This place was established in 1971, and their mission is to restore and preserve military aircraft for the learning and enjoyment of future generations. A very noble goal indeed. They also have some World War II artifacts inside this location, which should be very interesting as well. So if you are brand new to this channel, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on a thing. And come on with me, guys, let's go see what there is to see. And before we even get inside, they've got a military Jeep on display out in front. Look at those huge tires. They've got the star on the side, and you can even get a look on the inside, the seats and the steering wheel, and a look out the front window. This reminds me a little bit of MASH right now. And here's the front entrance where we came in. And as I said, this place is going to be interesting. This front part is the museum that we're going to be checking out as well today. And then back here, check out all of these airplanes that are currently being preserved and restored. Wow, lots of history in these machines. Looks like they've got an engine with a wooden propeller sitting right there. And even a flight simulator for the kids. Or small adults. Certainly not for me. And it says, do not board without permission. But look inside, it's got the flight controls. Looks like it's on some spring mechanisms, so kids can go in there and get the feel for what it's like to really fly a plane. Well, if you guys know anything about Tommy Travels the Second, you'll know that we love great mural art on this channel. And there's nothing better than this one that shows the history of World War II. Look at that plane, the Enola Gay. And of course it ends off with the famous kiss. Probably the most famous kiss in US history. And they do a great job of depicting the beginning of the war as well, with Pearl Harbor. Wow, this mural is absolutely awesome. This motorcycle caught my eye as soon as I walked in the door. And it's a British motorcycle. It's a 1939 BSA model M20, as the sign says. And it was originally deemed to be a failure, but later evolved into one of the longest serving motorcycles in British military motorcycling history. And there's a picture of one in action right there. And this man that you are looking at right here is John Robert Tressman. And he entered the Army Air Corps in 1942, and he was a photographer. And they have a collection of his cameras that he used from back in those days. Right here in this case, all the history that they have witnessed is just unbelievable. And then they even have some of the photographs that were either taken by him or ones that were traded among photographers in the Air Corps. Here's an old license plate, Minnesota, 1941. It's in the case that is in dedication to the motor pool. We've got some pictures of old Jeeps in here, and of course, these things didn't just fix themselves, so they've got some old equipment and things like that that were used in the old motor pool. Old pair of glasses, and of course, a driver's manual. I was thinking about going to an art museum today, but I don't have to. This case has a collection of trench art. And trench art is defined as any decorative item made by soldiers, prisoners of war, or civilians where the manufacturer is directly linked to armed conflict or its consequences. Look at all of these items in here. They have a canteen cup. They've got a plane made from bullets. A necklace made out of seashells. Wow. These are candlesticks right there. And look at this guy. Welcome to Tommy Travels II. These gentlemen pictured here are First Lieutenant Lauren Heinz and Bob Johnston. And Lauren Heinz, his plane tragically went down days before victory in Europe. And his grandson, Hans Ronka of Duluth, Ronka, W-R-O-N-K-A, of Duluth, set out on a mission to track down the site of his grandfather's crash. And as you can see, these are pictures of when they found the site. They did some digging, and the engine was found 16 feet below the surface. And they actually have that very engine displayed right here in this museum. Wow. That is absolutely fascinating. It's all because his grandson made a pledge to find the wreck of his grandfather's airplane. Wow. And from my previous adventure, I learned that this plane was used for pilot training. And George Bush Sr. actually learned to fly right here in Minnesota, and it would have been on a plane just like this one. You can even get a really cool view of inside the cockpit on this plane with all of the dials and things like that. Not a lot of room in there, that's for sure, but that is what those pilots would have seen when they stepped inside this beautiful aircraft. Wow, everywhere you look around here, just absolutely cool planes. It's amazing that these were actually flown during the war, and they're being preserved right here in this museum. They even have some cool nose cone art, and this one is called Sleepy Time Gal. And she looks a little tuckered out. As I give you the 360 of this area, what's amusing me is that last week I got kicked out of a junk store because they wouldn't allow any photography inside. Yet this week, look at this beautiful yellow plane right here. This week, I'm able to enter a building filled with old military aircraft that is currently in the process of being restored, and photography and filming is absolutely fine. Look at this one. It's called Pat's Pulverizer. That's what it says on the nose cone art. And look, it's got the guns shooting out the front. Wow. That's probably about as close as I've ever been to guns like that. And the previous gal on the other side was sleepy, but this one, she's engaged. Probably not something that made the military service guys very happy to hear. All sorts of cool things that you could find around here, including a closet of commemorative Air Force uniforms with the commemorative Air Force patches along with the American flag. Beautifully done and beautifully designed. And this plane with the guns has the actual nose cone art on the other side, and it is Miss Mitchell. It is probably the favorite nose cone art I've seen here today. That is so cool. And this aircraft even had guns shooting out the side windows. This was not a plane to be messed with, that's for sure. And that aircraft that we were just looking at, the Miss Mitchell, that's it right there. And there it is on the runway. Looks like it's about to take off, and my goodness, it sure looks a lot smaller on that runway than it does when you're standing right next to it here in person. That is for sure. Look at this beautiful engine that they have. It is a Wright R2600 B25 engine. 14-cylinder supercharged air-cooled two-row radial engine. I have no idea what any of that means, but it sure does look cool. Well, you guys, this has been another successful adventure here today on Tommy Travels the Second. And we got to see some historic artifacts in the museum, some absolutely beautiful planes in the process of being restored. And if you guys are ever in this area, you should definitely come and check it out because it is amazing. And if you guys like what you saw here today, go ahead and hit like on my YouTube channel. Of course, hit subscribe and the little bell notification next to it so you can be the first to know when a new adventure comes out. And this has been an absolute blast hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for the support that you've given me so far. And until next time, I hope to catch you on the flip side.